long time, I used to wake up every single day with the same thought: I hope I don't binge today. That was my first thought every day. And if you know what that feels like, that specific dread, then you already know what I'm about to talk about. Because here's the thing that nobody really says about not seeing progress. For a lot of us, it's not that we're doing everything right and the results aren't coming. It's that we're caught in a cycle that was never gonna lead anywhere, and we just don't know how to get out of it. Because it wasn't really the hard days that destroyed my progress. It was more so what I told myself after those hard days, what they would mean, what they meant for my self-worth, for how good I was, for how I would be able to continue maybe on my fat loss journey, or just in general for how worthy I was as a person. And that's what this video is actually about. So let me describe what binge eating actually felt like for me. Because if I'm going to talk about how this destroyed my progress, I have to be honest about what it really felt like or what it was. So basically, if you've never experienced a binge, for me, it was almost like blacking out. Like 15 minutes would go by and then I'd come back. And I'd look at what I'd eaten and be like, what did I even do? Like, what happened? Why did I do that? That's not even part of my goals. I really didn't want to do that. It goes against every single thing that I believe in and that I want to achieve. And then the other voice starts. I should have been more strict. I should have known better. I've ruined all of my progress. I just have to figure out how to never make this happen ever again. And the next day, I'd wake up and restrict even harder because I thought that the binge was the problem. I didn't understand that the restriction was actually what was causing it. So the cycle would continue. Restrict, binge, shame, restrict harder, binge again. And every time I failed, I thought I had to restrict harder. I needed more discipline. I needed to figure out how to make this stop and how to have more control, a stricter plan, and just if I was able to control everything, it just wouldn't happen anymore. And the funny thing is that I was making the exact thing that I wanted to fix worse, and I had no idea. So when I now think about why I wasn't seeing any progress during that time, it wasn't that I was doing everything right and the results just didn't show up. It was that the approach that I was taking was always going to lead to a binge. That amount of restriction was never going to be sustainable. The binge was literally my body's way of catching up and figuring out something to basically make me eat enough, because there was literally no version of this restriction that did not end this way. And I think that's the real thing that most why you're not seeing progress videos miss, because they talk about timelines and tracking and maybe switching plans too often. And I'm going to come back to that because that's important too. But underneath all of that, for so many women, there's this underlying thing that completely ruins almost everything that you're trying to create, the life that you want to create, the routines and habits that you actually want in your life. And this cycle is just undoing all of your hard work, basically. Because you can have the perfect plan, but if one hard evening spirals into 3 days of this isn't gonna work and it doesn't matter anyways, the plan never even gets a chance to work. Because the progress usually does not disappear because of the binge. It disappears because of the spiral after the binge. The shame, the restrict harder response, and the weeks lost to I've already ruined it. And for me, that was honestly the thing that had to change first before anything else. But if you want to go deeper on everything that I'm talking about today, I put together a free guide called the Fat Loss Recovery Kit. It's a 6-step troubleshooter that walks you through exactly why fat loss has not been working for you and what to do instead. So if you're interested, I'll link it in the description box below. So here's what actually started to change things for me, and it almost sounds too simple, which is why I want to explain it properly. I started pausing just for a second before going into a binge, or before eating something that I would usually tell myself I wasn't allowed to eat. And instead of giving in completely or just white knuckling through not having that thing, I would just say to myself, I'm choosing this. I'm allowed to do this. Even though it might not be the most intelligent or healthy thing for me right now, I'm choosing it, and it is my choice that I stand by. And the strangest thing happened. It took away the urgency of it all. Because here's what I realized. The thing that makes the binges feel so out of control isn't the food. It's the belief that you have no control over it. The moment that you tell yourself that you're choosing this, that you're allowed to do it, there is no out of control feeling anymore because you've actually made a decision about it. And decisions usually do not spiral. I'd still eat more than I planned sometimes, but it wouldn't be a binge. It wouldn't be as out of control and not like a blackout experience where I don't remember anything anymore. Because a binge isn't really about hunger or even food. It's about the feeling of being powerless. And I wasn't really powerless anymore. I also want to say that this wasn't instant. I mean, of course, in the beginning, I still had to relearn what hunger and fullness even felt like because binging and restricting for so many years had completely disconnected me from those signals. I'd go completely over fullness or under it, and neither really felt wrong because I'd been ignoring it for so long. I almost had to learn my entire body from scratch, and that honestly takes time, but it's possible. It's honestly the most important thing that I did for my progress, because I would not be standing here today and telling you how I lost weight sustainably and without even feeling restricted or like deprived of anything that I want if I had not first healed my binge and restrict cycle so many years ago. So outside of this cycle, there are two more things that I see constantly that quickly kill progress. So this one is so common. You try something for 2 weeks, you don't see dramatic results, so you kind of switch it up and try new calories, a new diet, and you start again. But progress compounds slowly, steadily, sometimes even in an invisible way that you would not even see because your body is adapting, your habits are slowly building, and your consistency is actually creating something. But every time you restart, you interrupt that process. So it will never actually compound into something that you can see. Because the plan that works usually isn't the perfect plan, but it's the one that you can stick to long enough to actually see results. Now, we also live in a world of transformation videos, before and afters, like 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and if your own 2 weeks don't look like that, you decide that it's not working. But real, sustainable change, the kind that actually stays, it's slow, and definitely slower than social media makes it out to be. And measuring yourself against someone else's highlight reel on social media or even in real life, or like someone else's timeline, means you'll just always feel behind somehow. But you're not behind, you're just measuring yourself against a timeline that was never real. Now I want to end with this because I think that it's the thing that I needed to hear most when I was in the middle of all of this. Progress is not a straight line. It's not a number on the scale every Monday. It's not a perfect week followed by another perfect week. For me, progress looked like one day where I woke up and didn't feel that immediate fear of a binge, or one evening when I had something that I wanted and just moved on, or one week where I did not spiral after one hard day. Those moments were the whole thing that brought me here today. So if you're in the cycle right now of restricting, binging, restricting even harder, and feeling shame for all of it, I want you to know that getting out of it is not about being more disciplined. It's about understanding what's actually driving it and slowly, gently choosing differently. Not perfectly, but differently. And that's exactly where it starts. If what I talked about today resonated, especially the restriction side of things, my video about why eating less isn't going to make you lose weight goes even deeper into the biology behind all of this. And I really think that it's going to make some things click for you. So if you're interested, I'll just link it on the screen right now. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope that I see you in my next video. Bye!